Hi everyone and welcome to our first tutorial on Adobe Animate CC. I hope that all of you are looking forward to making animations. Can be a lot of fun and very interesting to learn about all the different ways that you can create different animations. So when you first open up Adobe Animate CC, you get a window that looks like this here. And it's very important that we are consistent in how we construct our animations. And the way that we're going to do that is once this opens up, you're going to go down to the bottom to templates. And then you're going to go to general and you're going to make sure that a few of these things are set properly. We want to make sure that we have an ActionScript 3.0. And next, we're going to take a look at the dimensions of the animation. So just like a image or photograph, an animation has a specific size. And we're going to make sure that our animations always have the same size unless you are told otherwise. We're going to make sure that you have the width set for 800 pixels. You're going to make sure you've got the height set for 400 pixels. So make sure this is set to pixels. The width is 800, the height is 400. The frame rate is how fast your animation runs, and that's in frames per second or FPS. Make sure you've got this set to 24 frames per second. The background color we want as white, and we are going to click this to make this our default. So when we click on OK, we end up with a workspace that looks like this here. Over on the left hand side, we have a whole bunch of different tools we can use. Up top here, we have a timeline. Down below, we have the stage. And this is where you build your animation. And this stage, as we just set up, has a certain size. It is 800 pixels wide and 400 pixels in height. So make sure that it's set up like that for all of your animations. Now you can change the view, and when you open yours up, it might look differently. You can go to the upper right here and you can see there's different ways that you can actually have your workspace. If I go to the animator view, it just changed things around and puts it in this view here. I'm going to go back to classic. All the videos that I've built for you, they are all in classic format. So to be consistent, I'll just go back to classic view. Now, up top here, you'll see the timeline, and the timeline is very important. And just like in Photoshop, we have layers that we can use, and we can put different objects in different layers. Just like in Photoshop, you can put different images in different layers. Now, if we just take a look at one layer here, these numbers represent frames. So in view here, we can see 75 frames, but it actually can keep on going and keep on going forever. Now, notice that we have our animation set for 24 frames per second. What that means is I can put in different objects inside each one of these little rectangles, which is a frame. And when I play my animation, there'll be 24 frames played each second. So after 2 seconds, I'll be up to here, I'll be at 48 frames. So as the animation plays, all it simply does is it just shows you what's in each frame. Then it moves to the next frame and draws it, moves to the next frame, shows you what's in that one, and it just keeps going like that. That's all an animation is it's just showing a bunch of images one after another very quickly, and that's what makes it look like it's moving. So this is your timeline here, and like I said, this is layer one. You can double click on this here and you can rename this here and call it whatever if we've got a ball inside that layer. And then I can right click, I can insert another layer, and I can double click here. And let's say I want to draw a basketball hoop. I'll put that inside that layer. And if I want to insert another layer, I'll put inside here my shooter, and I'll draw someone who is shooting a basketball into a hoop. So you can put in here as many layers as you want. This layer sits on top of this layer and sits on top of this layer. So keep that in mind when you are building. Now, file formats, as you know, are very important. We want to make sure that we understand file formats for animations. If you save an animation project, it saves as a .fla file. So if I ask you to hand in your FLA, you are handing in the project file, and that way I can see all of the layers that you've created. I can see what you have in each one of your frames. So the FLA is the project file. Now, when you are done, it's like using Photoshop, you can save in different formats. When we do that in animations, we call it publishing. So if I go down to publish settings, I can publish in different formats here. So I can publish as an SWF. An SWF gives us a really good, clear picture of our animation, and it's a good format to use. We won't be using an HTML wrapper, so I'm just going to turn that one off. So we could publish as an SWF, or what we call a SWF, and you can play that inside any browser. Now, one thing to notice is after we have named this properly, so we'll call this basketball shooter, the audio stream that's set here is really low rate. So when we get into some animations where you want to have music and we want to have really good audio, make sure when you're doing this, you click on this, and we're going to set the bit rate 260 kilobits per second. We talked about bit rate in the last unit, and the quality as the best. Click OK, and I'm going to click on the audio event, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move that 260 kilobits per second and the quality as best, and click on OK. So when we export, we will have the best possible audio. So make sure you upgrade those settings so that we don't have really poor audio. So when I click on publish, it will publish this as an SWF. Now, Wix used to support SWF files or FWF, but they do not support that format anymore. So you can publish as this format, but Wix will not accept it. We can't put it on a Wix website. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cancel out of that, and we are going to go to File, and we can publish, and we can also export. And you can export in different formats. For instance, we can go to Export Movie. And when we go to Export Movie and we go to the drop down menu, there's different things we can export as. As you can see, there is an SWF here, but we can also have an animated GIF. Wix does support animated GIFs, so this is the format that we will be exporting in and putting on your Wix website. So make sure that you choose this one here, animated GIF, and that one, like I said, will go on your Wix website. Honestly, it will not look as good as an SWF, but it is the format that Wix does support. So make sure you've got that selected. Make sure you title this properly and save it in a proper folder. I'm going to cancel out of this. So that's an introduction to Adobe Animate CC. The remainder of the tutorial videos are going to look a little bit different because they are in an older version of Adobe Animate, which is called Flash. You're going to find the tools are in the same place, and it's going to take you a little bit of time to get used to it, but you'll get the hang of it after a while. So good luck making your first animation. That's it for this tutorial. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.